G'day and welcome to part 18. I think it's part 18 on the CB350 restoration. I bought this one back in, I think, 2018, and over the following 18 months or so, sort of got it to the point where it was almost finished, and then sort of became interested in something else and jumped ship and left it to rot. Not really rot, it was in the garage and I wasn't looking too flash. My sort of, I guess, thrust with this was to make it look original again, although I did like the way the guy had done this sort of cafe racer look, but the closer I got to it, the more I realised that it really did need to be pulled down and started again. And so consequently, in the action of doing that, I ended up buying a frame cut and taking brackets off and all this sort of stuff, because it was all sort of shaved off. There are pictures to that end coming up. The other thing with it was, I left it 5 years ago and took on a whole lot of other jobs, a bit of work on the MG, some on the XC. I think I restored 7 classic Victors. I even restored a fan and a hairdryer. Did some EJ Holden stuff, refurbished a Corolla, did the body mounts on the Plymouth. A couple of radio controlled car videos, a couple of Starlets, Toyota Starlet videos. Actually loads of them. Built a carport, or at least furnished it. Did a bunch of mix masters, you name it. ZK, Fairlane series, all sorts of stuff, which we're returning to soon. Here's a picture of it here before the previous owner bought it. Guy's name was Russ, and he was appalled when he saw the condition of it when I bought it, because it was a good registered road-going bike. And here it is, of course, just before I stopped working on it. And seeing it languishing around in the garage like that sort of motivated me to get into it, because if you leave it too long, that's when they really do turn bad. So in this video, we pull it out. We try and do some good work with it. We get a lot of stuff sorted. There'll be one more before it's finished, because it's leaving here and going up to the other place. I'll put a permit on it, take it in for roadworthy and this sort of stuff. So anyway, look, I hope you enjoy. Take good care of it. That comes later. Hope you enjoy and leave comments as necessary. Right, this is actually disgusting. I had a look through my old videos, and it's 5 years since I've touched this. So a little run to the fuel went off. And motorcycle fuel always goes off more than cars, because I guess the small tank is more, I don't know, they get warmer. I think the fuel gets warmer in those tanks over the years, and it's a small space, and maybe that's the reason, I'm not sure. This looked impeccable before, and now it's just terrible, awful. So I think we're going to have to move and pull a few bits off. I remember cleaning up that mud guard, and all that surface rust is back. The weather's pretty rubbish today, and I've got to get it past the MG. That's another thing I've got to work on. So let's just see what we can work out and get the bike here so I can do some work on it. So this is one of the 3 vehicles that I want finished this year. One is this 350F, XC Fairmont and Fairlane. This I've had since 2018. 7 years. I spent a couple of years doing it up to that point, but now it looks terribly dowdy and so forth. I've just got to, I don't even know where the key is. I must have left it inside, so I've got to go and get the key just to remove the seat. I need to take the tank off. We need to wash it, make it look good again, because look at it. Terrible. It's awful compared to what it was when I first semi-finished it. But we really do need this as a good going bike. I don't think I didn't put the pins in, that's right. It's all redone. I think Jason did that. Remnants of a Honda tool bag. I'll take all this stuff off. The tank worries me a bit. Yeah. I feel ashamed. I must say, I feel really ashamed. I've got a new loom, which I was using in the special, but I think this one tested alright. I can't remember what I did so long ago. Look at this. It's all powder coated, but we need to give it a good clean. It ran, but kind of poorly. It did fire on all cylinders and all this sort of stuff, but it sounded like it had a vacuum leak. And I got the mixtures all completely haywire. So I think the first thing we'll do, I've got it up on my little jack. Oops. We've got to take this wheel off and fit the sprocket and chains, and I'll give that a clean off the bike, and it'll also let me clean the swing arm a bit and put the chain guard on. Yeah, I'm ashamed, guys. Sorry about this. It looks absolutely awful. And it's like gritty, greasy dirt. I had a look at a video. I've even got a switch in there. I can't remember why that switch is there. It's a little toggle switch, but it needs a good cleanup. So I think I'm going to pop that wheel off, and I just need to see the brake linings. I might have replaced them. I did buy some more, and if that's the case, I'll put them in the special. The 350 special. Oh, there's a bag full of valve springs. Springs, retainers and locks, as they say, for the special. That was in a box I found. And the old special is underneath this bench. And the head's not sitting on permanently, it's just sort of bolted there. This was the one I had powder coated in the creamy colour, because I wanted it to be like a police special, with a 350 drum brake, not a disc brake on the front. I like the old school look. So unlike the Fairlane, all this stuff, the rear brake hardware, that's to block off the fuel tank so I can fill it with vinegar again. All the proper hardware with the JIS things, sprocket bits, and there was another bag here for the push drive and all that. Found it in 2 seconds. I knew where everything was. Pity it wasn't like that with the Fairlane. It's the steel wool I'm talking about in the intro. It does a great job just cleaning up. I mean, that chrome is pretty knackered because it is pitted, but it always was. But it's also very good on aluminium. Now I've just got to spend some time cleaning this bike up. That's pretty crap. Maybe I need a new piece. Yeah, that could have been better. But look at this, like where it's all, you know, pitted and horrible, just all comes off and leaves you with a nice finish. I probably should have washed this first, shouldn't I? So, you know, it's all good. Anyway, we've got to put the side cover on. We've got to, I'm just going to get a warm soapy solution and just wipe off some of this. And we've got to take the tank off, drain that. And I've got a new brake line for it. That one down there's been cut, and so it wasn't long enough. And so that goes in with the new sprocket and all this sort of stuff, and the chain and the front and all that sort of business. So we'll make a start. I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean first. I actually broke the fuel filter taking it off. That could be blocked. There's something wrong with that because there is fuel in it. It doesn't matter. We'll just take that off. Yeah. It's kind of stuck. Well, I've given some of it a clean. Just gave it a wipe, a little bit of steel wool. Not finished yet. Haven't done the front. Haven't done the other side. But it's a beginning. I've got to stick that sprocket on down there. Sprockets, none of this stuff's expensive. It's a 38 tooth rear and a 17 front. I've got all the hardware that's been sitting in boxes for ages. So I actually had this undone before. I think these are a 10-125 thread. Yep. These have a rebate on the back of them for These of course sit in the cush drive. And then we just add these little blokes as well. Bend the tabs. Probably should put new ones on. Yeah, so just go around and stick these in. Tighten them up to the torque. I don't know what the torque is, but it goes that way. But it can't be that hard to work out. Damn, I hate that. New ones probably would have been a better idea. I'll bend those ones up, but they just sort of sit in the cush drive and help it. Take a bit of shock away. Is that in enough? I can't seem to. Oh no, that should turn. There we go. I've had the chain guard sitting around for ages. Is that in neutral? Yes, it is. I can't get that on properly. There we go. That's in. That's in gear. I'm looking forward to riding it though. I had one of these as a child. Or as a teenager. It's the last time I bloody rode one. Perfect. Can I go down or up before? There we go. Alright, just a couple of things. I've cleaned this rim up and spokes. I was about to talk about these for a minute. These are the same rating, 4 zeros. Now there's different brands of the same rating, but this is the older one that Bunnings used to carry, just feels a lot finer. I don't know if you can see the difference there. This one doesn't scratch, seems to do a good job, but this is just nicer to use. And they don't sell it. It was about twice the price. I think it was about $8 for a small pack. This has got considerably more. That's 50 gram. That's 100 grams. So that's twice the size at half the price. Similar product, and the rating's the same, but this is actually the preferred one. Really, really fine stuff. I think a little bit better for chrome, a bit kinder to it. Right, so we'll clean that up. I'm just going to put the cush drive in. It is tightened down, and the tabs are all sort of bent into the right spot. I'm in the kitchen, so I can't. Once it seats down, there's a couple of items to put on. It's the only reason I'm wearing gloves. It is 6:45 in the morning. It's still dark. We've got a shim and we've got a snap ring. And we just drop the pliers and make a mess. And does that go? That's the pliers at the end of the wick, I think. Hang on. Plier tray. Oh, here we go. Oh, damn. Make sure that's seated properly. These pliers are probably a little bit too small. Yeah, they're all the way in. That seems fine. Alright, that can go back on the bike. It's already got new brake linings on. I forgot that I put those on. But that's all good. I'm just going to put these in. These little guys here, just behind There we go. I think this is a very good angle. This is an arcade. It's a good chain, but it's a cheap chain. It's not an O-ring chain. I've got this sitting on a thing. It's not an O-ring because this bike's not going to get much use. Try and find my chain breaker. What do you reckon? Might go for that one there. This is just a very cheap chain breaker. It's not a particularly good one. I'm just going to stick the thing over so the edge of the pin is going through that back hole. Tighten up this outer nut. Well, it's actually a bolt, isn't it? Until it goes over the front part of the pin. That's going to make sure it's centered, which it seems to be. And then we can turn this, which has a sort of a pin punch on the end of it, and rotate it. This is only a dirty cheap thing. I can put that down. And there's a bit of resistance when it first breaks. It does take a bit of effort. I've just pulled that chain link out. I'll just remove the tool. That should fall out like that. My wheel chock fell out, so I'm just going to bring the chain up again. I've got it on cardboard so it stays relatively clean. It's going to be very fiddly trying to hold that together. So I'm just going to stick a cable tie through. Because most of the time, is that the right way? That's the wrong way, hang on a minute. Most of the time I work alone, and correction, pretty much all the time I work alone. And so sometimes there's little hacks. Most of the time I just make them up. Oh, bloody hell. I've got my glove caught in it. Alright, let's see how that goes. I've lost my finger. I'll put this bloke in. Is that going to go? Or have I done the chain too short? Oh, that would suck balls, wouldn't it? Oh, we're nearly there. Can't back that off anymore. I think I'm right about the end of my week with it. Yeah, I'm getting it in. Look at that. Okay. It's got a nylon side, or it looks like that, and a steel side, so I'm assuming it goes there. And because the wheel travels this way, this guy has to go on that way. Because if it goes on this way, as you're travelling, you stand to knock it off. And a chain coming off on a motorbike is a bad idea. Right, so I've got the side cover on, or the sprocket cover. There's a brake in there that's been JB welded back on, glued back on. Chain guard, chain obviously. Chain guard's weird. This was powder coated. And a bit of Fairlane paint. I tried to get off with thinner and it affected the powder coating. So I'll work on that to try and clean that up. But otherwise it looks the part. I think now we'll just turn the thing around, or at least we'll back it up toward where the 750 is and just clean up the other side, which you can see is rather filthy. And after that I think I might take the front wheel off. I've got to re-bleed the brakes. They just feel a bit, feels alright, but it just feels a bit spongy. So we'll do that as well. So I've got that side done. This side is filthy, just like the other one was before. And the problem I had was this wasn't long enough. That brake rod. I bought this one XUS and then had it plated and restored it and all this sort of stuff. Even so, paid about $100 for it. It is a bit longer, so it's going to make the distance. I think I remember it being a pain in the neck to put on, particularly with that split pin down there. So I'm going to get some more light because it's a bit dark in this area. So I think we'll stick that on. At least then we've got a rear brake. Rightio, I think that's... I don't like the way it's adjusted right up like that. These two dots line up. Can we see on the thing there? There's the master spline, so you can't really do much about that. And I've got that adjusted where I think, but you know, it's working. Yeah, not really sure. That can come off. That cable tie that was just holding the other rod there. I've still got to clean up this side. I was just digging out batteries. And this one, Phil Rule, great supporter, gave me about 5 years ago. He came around, he had 3 of them. So I've got to dig this out and just see if it's going to be the right size. Damn. And it's had Barbie fashion shows sitting on it since then. So, I'm sorry, Phil. I hadn't used it to date. Oh, I probably got that for the T250. That might not be big enough for this. Yeah, I don't think it will be. That might have been for the 250. I think I need a slightly bigger one for this, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to hit the 250 soon anyway. So that's got all the electrolyte and everything in it still. That's good. So I might go for a slightly bigger one. I think I picked this for the 2-stroke. It's a kickstart, it's not electric start. But I think that's where we'll use that. Just want to look at these brakes. This is the original cylinder that I overhauled. I'm going to put that there for a minute. This is from Richard Graham. Fluid will go, that still looks pretty clean. It will go cloudy though when it starts getting sort of water in it, because it is hygroscopic. It actually it's designed to absorb moisture. There we go. There it is. It's a bit discoloured. It's a bit green. It would have been a sort of a clear blue. You can use the vacuum pump to bleed these, but I'd sooner just do it manually. I'm just pressing it down with the nipple shut. I just want to flush the old fluid out and replace it with this new stuff. Fuel tank. This tank was impeccable when I got it. Well, I had a bit of surface rust. I thought it was vinegar. Got rid of all that. Oops. It's got a little bit coming up around the cap and inside. Okay, so what I originally did, and you can see it actually argued with the paint. It's just wet sanding cup there, but I had the off fuel that was in it, the residual that came out, actually stuffed the paint up there. Doesn't matter, no big deal. So what we're going to do, I'm going to try this, hoping it's going to work to some degree. I should use, I thought I had a cotton bud down here. I normally keep a couple of cotton buds for doing tidy, which this isn't. Work. I can always wipe it off with a bit of Prep Sol or something. And I made this. It's still got its old gasket on. Remains to be seen if it works, but it's worth a shot. And it's just a blank with a couple of 6mm bolts in it. It allows me to block off the exit of the fuel tank and, oops, hang on a minute. I should use the socket, shouldn't I? And seal it off. So, hopefully it works. I'm being lazy. I didn't even want to make a new gasket for it. That's how lazy I'm being. But Permatex is pretty good stuff in terms of its ability to seal, particularly with oil. The reason I've got that there, I've got to do a little bit of fluid addition. Damn. Oh, there's the things off the fairlane. I've got to fix that. The A-pillar trims, very brittle. I've probably already broken them. This has still got a tiny bit of fuel in it, and I want to get rid of it. So the best way to do it is with methylated spirit. You can get the lid off. And methylated spirit, old fuel is soluble with methylated spirit, and then water absorbs the spirit. So you can actually And I ages ago I did a video and I had a couple of like petri dishes. They're just jar lids, and one of them had water in it. I put the petrol in, it just floated. The other one had metho, and I put the petrol in the metho and it dissolved, and then I used that in fresh water, and it took it all. You can actually put quite a bit in. I'll just get a tiny bit more. I'll put another bottle in there somewhere. Hang on. I don't have to use much because I'm just soaking up old fuel. And then I'll just drain it away. That'll do. And I'll take this outside and give it a good shake. Right, this is from the wonderful Nick. Nick Saviano. It's got a little camera on the side. You can also use the side camera as well. So I'll start, I keep forgetting how to use it. We'll start recording. Where are we going? That's the side one. Hang on a minute. Let me just get my bearings right. There we go. Honda. Okay, I'm going to switch over to this camera. We'll go in. Okay, we're going down now the right hand side. That's around the fuel filler neck. You can see there's a bit of surface rust there. I'll straighten the camera out. We'll go down here. And that's the bottom front right hand corner. That's where the Honda badge goes, that indent on the side. Got a bit of surface rust going on there. And as we move towards here, it's not too bad. It's pretty good actually. And now we're down in the bottom corner. I'll just go over the lump in the middle. Bit of rust on there, just a surface rust though. And this is where I've just put that plug in, down the bottom there. Can we get down there? Oh. There's a little bit down there. And we come up toward the front. There's the side down the front again. That's the front corner there. And again, so it doesn't look too bad. There's a little bit of muck there. As we get up toward the top, I'm just going to switch cameras here, and then we go back in, and this is all around the filler. And that's what I stuck my finger in I didn't like. So I want to get rid of all that. Couple of products here. Bit of white vinegar, it's like $2. Bicarbs, I will soak this. Last time I did was about a week, but probably 5 days or so. Drain it, flush it out, make sure all the surface rust is gone. Then I'll fill it with this stuff and leave it soaking. I think you just have to put it in and take it out, but I'm going to leave it there for a while just to neutralise the acid out of there. And a funnel and a plastic bucket. So I'm just going to. That stuff stinks. You can use other acids, but this is like $2. It's nothing. I'll just stick the whole lot in. Fill the rest of water. Well, I'll fill up to about there. It's down to about here. I'll fill up to there with water and just pour it in. Cheapest stuff I've ever filled a petrol tank with. You can smell the vinegary odour from the off fuel. Hopefully this doesn't leak. It didn't leak last time, but I didn't replace that gasket. I was being lazy. This is a pretty big tank now. I don't know if that was enough, that 2 litre bottle. That is an enormous tank. It's got a lot more in it than I thought. Anyway, we'll just let it sit. Wait a minute. What's that? I don't want anything on the paintwork. I've got to rebuff it anyway. It's pretty messed up. forks don't feel like they've got much oil in them at all, but I know they have. Looks like I've got a sweat there. I need to take this wheel off. It doesn't free spin very well at all either. It's kind of stuck, but that could be on the pad. So I'm going to take the front wheel off. I need to clean it all up anyway. And I might have to drain the forks. I just want to make sure they've got the right amount of oil in them and it's the right stuff. I can't remember what I put in. I haven't got any fork oil here, so I probably only had a bit and put a bit in. I don't know, I've got to sort of look into that. So I think I'll just take this front wheel off. Right, well, it's been a couple of hours, not much action, but it's actually started to swell. I might take some of that out. But it's not leaking down there, which is good. But obviously, I thought I'd have to put a screwdriver in on the drill and sort of circulate it, but when you just touch that with your finger, it stinks of vinegar. So that natural sort of oxidization thing will probably allow it to move around, but I might just take a tiny bit out. Right, I think I'm done for this chapter. Tank. I didn't put enough vinegar in, although it's got a bit cloudy. Not enough though. There's only 2 litres in there, and that tank's a lot bigger. Whoops. Than I thought. As far as the bike's concerned, this is what we've got. I've given it a rudimentary cleanup, yeah. Pulled both wheels off and given them a clean. Bled the front brakes. The axle was a little bit too tight. With the new bearings, they could be 1/1000 or 2/1000 thicker, I don't know, but I've got that sorted. So it rotates properly. The brakes, they felt a bit gluggy before, they feel really good now. We have, what else did we do to the thing? I've ordered a battery and an electric strap. I ordered 2 of those straps, one for the special, which we'll talk about in a moment. And oh yeah, the chain and sprockets, and put the side cover on and put a gear shifter on. That could be the wrong one, but it's now kind of ready. I might back that chain off a tiny bit. It's now ready to start once I get the battery in and so forth. I've also ordered a little hanging fuel tank. It looks like a drip out of a hospital, so I can just hang it off the ceiling and run it in and tune it, because we never tuned it before. So in the next one, this bike's finished. Yeah. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a departure from the Fairlane. The Fairlane we're going to get back into. I'm waiting for the rain to stop. It keeps raining. I need to fit. I've got to solder up those other mirrors, put the door trim on. Then the interior is completely finished. It smells so fresh in there. That's a beautiful car. And I've got the back. And I'll buff the 2 front guards, and I'll put the Fairlane badges on. We've got the badges now and the dress-up stickers, so I can show you that. And of course, I've got to paint the front bumper, and I can't do it. July and August are the coldest months here. So, anyway, with that being said, take good care of yourselves. Enjoy your classic, and I'll see you soon. G'day and welcome. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at our rather unique CB350 Special. It's going to be a bike just made out of bits and pieces. This is another CB354. Hasn't been cut at all, and I'm not about to cut it, but I am going to customise it. And I know exactly what I'm doing with it. I'm not going to say, because if I can't get some of the parts I want, then obviously I won't. I'll do something different. It's a complianced 350, which is great. Had I known about this, I'd have kept my frame off the other one, left it, and just used a whole new frame. But if you remember, I actually bought a cut from there sort of to the back, so it had all the tabs and everything for the seat. I like bikes original, but this one won't be original. I believe you have an appointment with some spanners. Well, this really is a bit of a mess. We've got makeshift fuel lines in there. The coils have been bolted to the top of the engine. It's pretty grimy, and it's seen better days. And looking at the outside, I mean, you never want to judge a book by its cover, but looking at the outside, you would think this thing is going to be totally munted inside. That gear shift is actually still serviceable. We take that metal bit off, take the rubber off, and that'll plate up like new. I think somebody actually welded the Kickstarter. I just don't want it to fall off this thing. It's only sort of perched on here. Yeah, someone's welded that. Hopefully they're a useless welder and that just breaks off. But, you know, I hurt myself with this when I was trying to start it. It's going straight in the rubbish. It's very, very dirty, this thing. But from everything I've seen on it, it appears to be in better condition than the one I've just rebuilt. There's just nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's really good from what I can see. Oh, let's have a look. Doesn't look too bad at all. I'm just going to take that out. Gee, it's clean. You wouldn't think it'd be that clean. That's your spray clutch there, and your starter's supposed to run on that, but I couldn't see it. This bike's not going to be a restoration. It's going to be something I'm going to make up as I go along. I've got some ideas in my head, but there's a load of aftermarket you can get. That's a CB175/200 tail light. I bought this for the original 350 here because it's smaller and a bit lower profile. The original ones are sort of huge and they're right up high, and I think it spoils the line of the bike. So, but there's loads of people making a kit like this as well. There are the barrels off this bike, and you can see it's got a lovely bore. The bores are lovely on this thing, so that can just be honed and put back in. We do have to take the O-rings out of there. I only took one out, so there's a couple more to come out, and of course the cases. And oh, come on, the cases aren't as new, so you can see just how wonderful it is. And you will never ever, I mean, for all of it was $180, and you just can't clean it for that. And you would never ever sandblast or media blast, sorry. You wouldn't use anything but hydroblasting for this sort of stuff. I thought I'd bring this to your attention. It's a 350 twin leading shoe front brake. This is the sort of thing I was actually disappointed with the Suzuki. It didn't have its original one there. The guy that sold it to me has just done the most impeccable job cleaning it, and you know, bagging everything and tagging it. So that's all working. Speedo drive's working. The leaves are all on. So I'm going to chuck that in a box for now. I haven't done that side yet. That can wait. I'm not too fussed about it. But I want it to. I don't want it to get corroded and messed up. Alright. Well, let's have a look at this. Right, here we have, I'm just going to take that off for a moment, CB350 Speedo police special one. It has a sort of a almost right angle drive, a 45-degree drive on it, which is offset. It had two captive nuts, which I have taken out because they were on the outside. I don't think that's making any noise yet. And that way we can fit it in the headlight shell. Now the headlight shell is CB450 police. Now, there's a couple of things with this which are good and bad. I really love the headlight switch on the headlight. One of those old Bakelite ones. I'm thinking about getting a 3D printer because you can't get the original Honda ones. They're kind of like a baseball cap shape, if you know what I mean, but tapered off at the end, and you sort of swing them left and right. There's a warning light goes there, which doesn't worry me. I can put a high beam light there, that's cool. So when we pop this in, like that, the mounting holes are wrong, the diameter of this, the OD of that's wrong, and the Speedo drive is pointing into a blank piece of steel. So we're going to have to block this hole up, weld a patch in there, cut another hole for that. I'm almost tempted to just do one big hole over here a bit, maybe block these two up, and then pop the Speedo cable out through the back. The other thing is the light doesn't fit. Now, I had some old steel This is XW, or that's XY Fairmont saddle. So I was doing this about 6 years ago. I did that for the XW. It was when I was restoring the XW. And so I've made a template, cut it out of steel. Didn't have enough, so it's cut it out of 2 pieces. I'm going to weld this together. And what that will do, when I finesse it, is that will sit over there. Yes? And provide the OD, or the ID, for the Speedo. So if we... Where's the top of the Speedo? The Speedo's here. I'm going to weld this ring together. I can put a, say, a 5mm nutsert into the side. And once this is welded, that will fit and it will go over. And that way that will give us the right mounting for the speedometer. And I'll weld it around here, I'll bodywork it, and then I'll paint it to suit the headlight, which isn't going to be black, it's going to be body colour. Right, so I've done a really half-assed job welding that. I didn't want too much on it because I want to bodywork it. The thing is, what I've got, if I've just marked the centre line, is I've got it higher at the front than the back, and it doesn't worry me because it just means the speedo is going to be canted back towards me a bit, whereas traditionally they're quite flat. If I put it, where's the bottom of it? There. If I put it on the speedo itself, that would line up there. I haven't finished doing that yet, so pardon the dodginess. I mean, that's off a bit, but that doesn't matter for the purpose of illustration. It's sitting out a bit in some areas because there's spot welds, and this is undulated along here. I don't know if you can see the reflection. It goes up and down where it's been, where this bit in a bit here has been spot welded. So, as I said, bodywork's the order of the day. But if I have it too close, it's got probably only about 3mm of play. I want to give that switch enough room because I want to put the switch here, or have it off facing back and then on facing here, if you know what I mean, because it's just going to be limited for room a bit. So I blocked up that one and that one. I've made this one here, which again isn't great because the drill was walking, the whole saw was walking because it's very, very thin. But we've welded that on. That will be okay. I'm just going to try and get it semi-level. The problem with it is it's full of, well, there's a run in it. Where's the run? Oh, there it is. There's a run across there. There's dimples all over it, but it's been spot welded. They didn't body work these. They just sort of stamped them out. That's right. They stamped them out and just painted them. There was no body working done. They didn't have to be perfect. Hang on, I'm going to take that back with 240. Here she is. There's a couple of little scratches, so we'll high fill it to get rid of those. It's not perfect. You can still see, well, if you can see where you are, the little dimples around where it was spot welded. Keeping these, and the OE ring for the 450 speedo still in there. So I've just attached this one. Hopefully I don't scratch because I've only just done it. But that should fit beautifully, which it does, into here. And that's our headlight for our project bike. And I reckon it looks alright. I'm happy with that. So the engine's back together. I think that's going to need replacing, that sprocket. You can see it's leaning a little bit in direction of rotation. So these teeth are leaning back a little bit. So I don't think that's going to do. All pumps all overhauled. All the bearings are original. The timing chain is original. I was wrong before because the chain tensioner works really well. So all I've really done to this is change the primary chain and put that gear in there for the starter. And cleaned it. You know, it's got greasy, oily fingerprints all over it, so I will have to give it a bit of a wipe down with some thinner. Once I've got those barrels on, and it's interesting, I washed them in hot water in the laundry, and they flash rusted in front of me. So I'm going to put those O-rings in there, new gasket in the bottom, and I'll chuck it in the frame. It'll only be secured sort of down the bottom, here on either side, and also that 3-bolt, so just sort of sitting there, but it doesn't matter. It gets it into one spot and gives me more bench room. Well, that's sort of going to do that one for now. It's not really my best work, I must say. Look, I don't think it matters that much. This was supposed to be made out of trashy bits and pieces, and it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. It's not a restoration, it's just a thing. Just a minute. So there are going to be battle scars all over the place. I'm not going to try and get away with that. I will get another cover for it. This was sent over. This engine didn't have one. And I bought that from a guy in Perth. And I didn't know. I wouldn't have said yes if I'd known about that, but it doesn't matter. He was really kind to me in most of the stuff he did. It was really good. Spaces I talked about before, I can just make that sort of thing. But this bike is, yeah, I've got new coils for it. All that sort of stuff. They go up there. So, but this bike, I've just got to wait and get bits as I can. But it'll be fine. It's going to be a nice little bike. I'll get another oil filter nut for it. I sort of cleaned it up as best I could with a file, but it's knackered. So I'll put a brand new Repro loom in it. I'm just going to use standard switches and all that sort of stuff like I did on the others. I'm not interested in the electronics, the high-tech ones. It doesn't really matter to me much. But, you know, what we've essentially done is take a trash-looking frame and a really trash-looking engine, and we're going to make a nice bike out of it. It's just going to take a while, that's all. So I'm going to cover this up, just with a rag, and it can sit there for all I care. It doesn't matter. That's the gear shift that was sort of bent. You can see it still is. I think I have to bring it up a bit like that. But, again, that's all right. We'll put a new beehive rubber on it, and we're good to go. So, it's cool. It's really, really good. It's better than I thought it would be. Certainly, I think it's going to be a nice little bike when it's finished. I've just got to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of it. So, on that note, I'll say thanks very much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.